Let's jump right in because the news is getting grimmer by the moment for the bears. The pent-up energy that I was talking about yesterday has been released. This range we've been trapped in on the spider for months is not a range anymore. It is support. And we have blasted above it. This is the biggest, greenest bar in a very long time, maybe even back to April. And we're up over 2% on the spider. We're up quadruple digits on the YM, quadruple digits on the NQ. So it is a very, very green day. And it's not because there's any news you can point to and say, well, the deal's been signed and ratified by Earth for peace. Nothing like that. It's just positivity. And as some people are calling it, the Leopold low from last week after that massive washout of Mr. Aschenbrenner's formerly $45 billion hedge fund. So at this point, it is the bull's market to lose. At some point, we'll get some selling, of course, and the only test is going to be, will prices stay above that range? The only bearish thing that could possibly happen would be if we slumped right back into it, and that would take some pretty serious selling. So bulls are fully in control again after we bottomed Wednesday at the close, and they haven't looked back since. Thursday, Friday, yesterday, today, all blasting higher, today in particular. Here's the diamond lifetime high. That's a pair of words that you're going to hear a lot with the market today. The Dow had the only little bitty bearish thing about this, or at least not bullish thing, is that we are mashed up against that broken trend line. That trend line dates back to the late March, the March 30 bottom, and we broke it here and didn't really fall that much. But over the past 4 days, we've gone roaring higher and have recaptured that trend line. But we're right at the trend line now at lifetime highs. So we want to see, well, we don't want necessarily, but we would need to see some follow through tomorrow to cement this as a new Dow rally. The small caps by way of IWM is very, very close to its own lifetime high. We have in the span of 2 days undone weeks of selling, and it had been just ever so slowly easing its way down. And it actually on Friday, and this is surprising, but on Friday, it was the lowest it's been in all those weeks. And then yesterday and today undid all of that. As I've said, the reason I'm not weeping onto my keyboard right now is because I've been lighting up persistently. I actually got as light as 14% early today, just almost nothing. It's hard to stay interested, frankly, with so little in the way of position. One account had 2 positions in it. I like to keep like half a toe in the water at least, but I have been slowly building my way back into positions, but absolutely nothing in the neighborhood of aggressive. I've gone from 14% to 50. And that was built up about 10 minutes ago because prices are very high and there are certain securities that seem appealing on the short side again. But here again, 50% as opposed to 5 times that much a couple of weeks back. I had real misgivings last week about covering so much, but that funny feeling I was getting, I guess that's what it was all about, because it was done. I don't think, and I've written about this before, between now and the midterms, I don't think there's any chance, unless something outrageous happens geopolitically, of a meaningful sell-off. After the midterms, and definitely after new Congress is sworn in, I think, sure, the politics will allow for that. As it is now, they're going to move heaven and earth and suspend this war as many times as they can to keep things propped up. And it has worked beautifully so far. So we got to take little opportunities as they come along, and they don't last that long either. China, FXI is amazingly actually down about 0.5% right now. As I've said, this is my largest options position. These are March 2027 $37 puts. And I've shown the whole chart before, so I won't bother you with that again. But in my estimation, this tremendous ascent we had should start unwinding, and I've got lots of time for it to unwind, almost 9 months. So far so good. It's the fact that it's down today at all is sort of a miracle, considering the just unabashed blast higher we're seeing across the board with the U.S. stocks. I made mention this morning that it's often more reliable and truthful to look at a financial chart than it is to try to read the news, because it's impossible to know what really is going on with the Iran situation, and you can easily find sources to convince you of any point of view, but the crude oil markets don't play that game. They're going to tease out the truth faster than anybody else. And given the fact that we're falling again on this, indicates to me that the prospect of a lasting peace deal is pretty strong. We have a right triangle pattern here, which was briefly pierced, measured literally in hours, but that was repelled. And after that repulsion, of course, the suspension of hostilities began, and we've got a hard sink going on right now. So maybe this is actually going to happen. As I said again and again, I really want it to, because it has dropped a thick layer of fog onto the market when you never know what you're going to wake up to, on again, off again, with this war. So crude oil seems to be thinking that a lasting deal is on the way. The other item in that regard is volatility, which has been crunched down to pretty much the lowest levels it gets to in this environment. The range of the VIX is roughly 15-ish to 30-ish, and on occasion it'll get above that, like when the war first broke out. But as you can see with the VIX futures, we've ground our way down to complete complacency again at this point. So if something crazy does happen, this is the kind of situation in which we'll see the VIX just reaccelerate higher and cycle higher. And historically, August and September are time periods where the VIX goes up. That is a clear seasonal trend. August, September, and somewhat into October, very strong tendency for volatility to increase, and a very strong likelihood that VIX is really low early in August, as it is right now. So hopefully we'll see some life breathed back into this poor thing soon. Generally speaking, though, the clarity, the cleanness of the patterns has been laid waste. As of even Friday, things were still pretty clean. Yesterday kind of mucked that up, and today just completely upends the cleanness of a lot of these charts. I've left here as a historical relic the rectangle that represented the top. We are way into that now. And this is neither bullish nor bearish. I mean, it's bullish for the past couple of days, obviously, but from a predictive standpoint, it's just a mess again. It's much more bullish with the likes of, say, the spider, which is clearly, as I said at the top of the show, released all that pent-up energy and is flying higher. But with something like this, it's murky. Part of that murk has been created by the power of the Mag 7 stocks. You can see here Amazon, its lift over the past few days has been astonishing, especially what followed after Thursday's earnings. Microsoft, 4 giant green bars, and that was kicked off by the Wednesday afternoon. And keeping in mind that Wednesday at the close, just before Microsoft and Microsoft and Meta introduced their earnings, things were bottoming out. But the Microsoft positive earnings report was a big element of reversing all of that. In South Korea, another lift here, almost 8%. We've still got kind of a top going. This is a pretty meaningful amount of overhead supply. I'm not trading that myself. I do still have my, and as I've mentioned, my options are all January and in one case March. The only exception is SMH. These are October puts, and SMH has been strong the past couple of days, and we'll see if this just keeps muscling higher. Forget about it. As I said this morning, I've been more active not losing money lately than making money. And for example, I'll repeat the examples I gave this morning. Palantir. I was short Palantir coming into yesterday. I got out. I covered at a profit big enough probably for a nice latte, but I got out, and good thing too, because we're up almost 30% on Palantir. I also, and I think I mentioned this in my show yesterday, got out of my Caterpillar puts. Now, interestingly, we opened pretty much at that trend line, and it's a long-term trend line. This goes way back to about a year and a half. So we opened strong, and we are still up, but we lost a chunk of that pop. So that's kind of interesting from a charting perspective, if that trend line repelled that thing and if it just tumbles down from there, because Caterpillar knocked people's socks off with a triple-digit rise when they opened. Over in the hyperscaling land, though, there's a lot of big gains today, some even high as 20–30%. In some cases, the patterns are still clear, and others it's just ruined. CoreWeave, for example, this is still not a bad pattern. It has exploded over the past 5 days, but it's right at the bottom of that topping pattern. So CoreWeave got just trampled, as you can see, in this series of lower highs. And so this isn't ruined. There are still patterns out there that are decent, in spite of these monstrous blasts. Its competitor, Nebius, not so much. This is, and it pushed into this pattern earlier anyway. We are, let's just lay down a line real quick here. We have come up to an area of resistance by way of this exhaustion point here and here and here. But the pattern as a whole isn't as clear because we're deep into this rectangle that I've drawn. And Dr. Jim this morning was mentioning Oracle, and he was noting the rise we'd seen there. And this is even when it was, even before this big lift, I had said Oracle would be something I would not touch because it had just basically done nothing but sell off for almost measured in months, actually. I mean, just like, look at this, just this absolute wipeout. So it kind of had nowhere to go but up. If and when the selling does resume, I think Oracle will be especially weak because there's a reason that it just got blasted like this. There's a very, very serious trouble going on. But with everyone buying everything with a ticker symbol right now, something as cheap looking as Oracle naturally got a big pop. In this very green day, I have a smattering of red on the screen. One area that I'm short that's still doing okay on a day like this is related to healthcare. Humana is one, HUM. This is down about 3.5%. And the other one relatedly is United Healthcare. It's down about 1.5%. So as you can see, those two patterns, pretty clean little tops. I don't know if they're down just because they're not tech and everyone's, all the money's sloshing somewhere else, but I'll take it, you know, any red today is welcome. I would also make mention, going back to the theme of not losing money, Meta got just blasted last week after their earnings. And as I stated on my show, both in the morning and the afternoon, I got out quick, because this was a nice quick profit, and it went up on Wednesday, and I'm sorry, this must be, yeah, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, so after Wednesday, Thursday it went up, Friday it went up, yesterday it went up huge, and today it's barely changed. I think resistance on this is up here, but it may not even get that far because we're already into the zone of overhead supply. But getting out here, you know, we always have doubts about getting out of positions, and this is the right time. Turned out to be that was the right time. Dodging a bullet on that one. All right, two monster reports coming out in about half an hour. Let's keep our eyes on them. AMD, very important. This is still range bound. Like the spider, it may go just blasting out of this range, but as of now, it's simply range bound all the way back to around May 20. So that's a key report, and it'll certainly inform SMH's direction. And of course, the one everybody's going to be watching and listening for, SpaceX, 2 green bars in a row, a welcome change. We're up nicely now. We were up about 10% earlier, up about 9% now. I have no opinion on the direction of this. I can only say this is going to have an enormous outsized psychological effect on the rest of the market, particularly the big IPOs that people want to see in the next year, Anthropic and OpenAI. So fingers crossed, we'll see how that goes. Should be interesting no matter what. All right, see you guys tomorrow. Hope you're doing all right. Good night.